Hello everyone, welcome back to Math with Allison. Today we're working in our integration series, so we're going to be talking about arc length. So what is arc length? Here we have a curve, and what we're doing is we're wanting to find the distance of that curve. It's like if it was a string and we straighten it out, we can measure it, right? So let's go ahead and develop the formula for arc length. So here, if I were to do an estimate, I'm going to zoom in on our curve. What I could do is find the hypotenuse of this little triangle. So notice that I already have the interval partitioned out. And so each of these little lengths is exactly the same, and we're calling it delta x, right? Delta x represents the distance between every single x value. So here we have that this length is going to be delta x. So we have that this lower height is going to be f of x0. And then the height of the other point is going to be f of x1. And so that means this entire leg is going to be f of x1 minus f of x0. And so now that we have these two legs, we can go ahead and find the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse in this case is going to be the square root, and we have delta x squared plus, and now we have to square that whole thing. So we get f of x1 minus f of x0 squared. So now what we would do is we would find all the hypotenuse of all of these little triangles, right? Oh, that'd be a tiny little triangle, and we would add those up together. But remember, this is not going to be perfectly accurate because we're not getting the curve, we're getting the straight line. What happens is we need to make the partition of the x's smaller and smaller. So let's go ahead and talk about more of a general formula. We're going to call delta yk, that's always going to be the distance of f of xk plus 1 minus f of x. And that's always going to represent that leg of the triangle, right? So here we have f of x1 minus f of x0. And also we have delta of xk, right? And that's going to represent all the lengths between these guys. So in general, the hypotenuse of all these is always going to be equal. And here we have delta xk squared plus delta yk squared. But we're not doing it for each one individually, we're adding them all together. So here we're taking the summation, k equals 1 all the way up to n. N represents our partition. So here we have n is equal to 6, right? And of course we're wanting to make n bigger and bigger in order to make those partitions smaller and smaller. So here we're adding them all together. So let's go ahead and rewrite this so that way we can manipulate it a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the first one the same, so we have delta xk squared, but I'm going to go ahead and multiply this yk squared by delta xk squared, right? But I can't just multiply by a magical number, so I have to also divide by it. The purpose of doing this is so we can actually factor out that delta xk squared out of both of them. So we're left with 1 plus, and now we have delta yk squared divided by delta xk squared. Now, when we multiply two things inside of a square root, that means we get to split it up with the square root. So here we have the square root of delta xk squared times the square root of that whole thing. And so now we can go ahead and take the square root of that one. So left over, we have the square root of 1 plus, and now we can combine those into one square. So delta yk divided by delta xk squared times delta x. But my question is, what is this? What does this actually represent? This is the change in y divided by the change in x. That represents the derivative. It's the first derivative of y in terms of x. So really how we can rewrite this is we have the summation, k equals 1 all the way up to n, whatever our partition is, and we have the square root of 1 plus the first derivative at x sub k squared times delta x, sub k, sorry. Now we have everything that we need. So now we want to take the limit as n goes to infinity because we want those little areas to be infinitesimally small. So here we take the limit as n goes to infinity. We have the summation k equals 1 to n of that whole thing. So here we have the integral between a and b, and the reason for that is because that is with our partition. We start at x0, which is a, and we end at x6, which is b. So we have the integral between a and b. We're adding up all together the square root of 1 plus the first derivative at x squared times dx. dx is the delta xk. It represents that tiny little distance. We have that f has a continuous first derivative on the interval a to b. The length of the curve from the 2 points, so the two endpoints, is L is equal to what we just found. So let's go ahead and try an application of this. We have that the length of a curve that's equal to x to the power of 3 halves, and we're finding the arc length between 0 and 4. So first what we need to do is we need to find the first derivative. We're going to bring down the power, so 3 halves x to the power of 1 half. Now we're going to go ahead and plug everything into our formula. So we have the length is equal to, and we're doing this between 0 and 4, and we have the square root of 1 plus our first derivative squared. So 3 halves x to the power of 1 half squared. And of course, we're integrating this in terms of dx. So let's go ahead and simplify this. We have 0 to 4, 1 plus, and that becomes 9/4 x. So if you know how to integrate that straight, that's great. You can go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and use u substitution. So I'm going to say u equal to the inside. And here we can find du dx, right? So we take the derivative, we get 9/4, and we can solve for dx. Another thing that we have to do when we use u substitution with definite integrals is we need to change the bound. So here our upper bound, x is equal to 4, and now we can use what we set u equal to in order to find our new upper bound. So u is equal to 1 plus 9/4 times 4. That's just equal to 1 plus 9, which is equal to 10. So here we have a new upper bound of 10. Let's go ahead and find our lower bound. So x is equal to 0, u is equal to 1 plus 9/4 times 0, and that's just going to be equal to 1, right? So let's go ahead and set up our new antiderivative. So we have between 1 and 10. We set the square root equal to u, and now we have 4 du divided by 9. So let's go and rewrite that. I can bring out the constant multiple of 4/9, and we have the integral between 1 and 10. And here I'm going to rewrite it as u to the 1 half. That way I can see power rule really clearly. So here that constant multiple hangs out. We add 1 to the exponent, 3 halves, and we divide by that new exponent. And we're integrating this between 1 and 10. I'm going to write it one more time. When we divide by a fraction, we multiply by a flip. So that becomes 2/3 u to the 3 halves between 1 and 10. So here, let's go ahead and plug in upper minus lower. And I'm going to do that over here. When I plug in 1, you just get 1. So we get minus 2/3. Here, I don't want to simplify the square root of 10. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this as our final solution. If you want to simplify it further, you totally can. But let's go ahead and try another one. Here we have the function, and we're integrating this between 0 and the natural log of 2. So let's go ahead and find our first derivative. Here we get 2e to the power of x, and that becomes minus 1/8 e to the negative x, right? I multiply by the derivative of the exponent, so I'd multiply by -1. What I'm going to do first before I plug this into the formula is I'm going to square it so we can try to simplify it a bit. So here we have 2e to the x. And now I'm just going to go ahead and FOIL it out. 4e to the 2x, right? When we multiply those first two, minus 2/8 e to the x, e to the negative x, minus 2/8, and that's also e to the negative x, e to the x, and that becomes plus 1/64 e to the negative 2x. So let's go ahead and simplify this. We have e to the x times e to the negative x is equal to e to the x minus x. That's equal to e to the 0, which is just equal to 1. That is a great way to simplify it out. So those each just become 1, this one and this one. So here we get 4e to the 2x, and that becomes minus 1/4 minus 1/4. And then the other one doesn't change, 1/64 e to the negative 2x. And we can simplify that one more time, right? Because that becomes -1/2. You can do this in any order if you want. If you want to simplify it within the integral, that's also totally fine. So here we have the integral between 0 and the natural log of 2. And then we have 1 plus that whole thing. So 4, got a fatty. So let's go ahead and simplify this. We can add that 1 and -1/2. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a trick. I'm going to rewrite this first term as 2e to the x squared. I'm going to rewrite 1/2 as 1/4 and 1/4. And then I'll also rewrite this last term. So that's 1/8 e to the negative x quantity squared. Because this is going to be a squared function. Because what this simplifies to is 2e to the x plus 1/8 e to the negative x quantity squared. That's a super common pattern in arc length problems because it gets pretty complicated. So it's really nice when you can just cancel out the square root with the square. So now we have the integral 0 to natural log of 2, 2e to the x plus 1/8 e to the negative x. So let's go ahead and take the antiderivative. We get 2e to the x, that doesn't change, but that becomes minus 1/8 e to the negative x. And we're integrating this between 0 and natural log of 2. So let's go ahead and plug in upper minus lower. The e and the natural log cancel each other out, so here we get 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. This negative becomes the exponent, so we get 2 to the negative 1, which we can rewrite as 1/2. So we get minus 1/8 times 1/2. And here, e to the power 0 is equal to 1, so we get minus 2. And don't forget to distribute that minus sign, but that becomes plus 1/8. So here we get 4 minus 1 over 16 minus 2 plus 1/8. So here we can combine that 4 and 2. We get 2 minus 1 over 16. And I'll rewrite that as 2 over 16. And I can also rewrite this 2 as 32 over 16. So here we get our solution of 33 over 16. So that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, I have many more like it, so make sure to check out my playlists. They're linked down below. Otherwise, please give this video a thumbs up and comment other problems or topics you'd like to see done. Thanks for watching.